Oh, what happened?
Fanboy Modeling School. Fat Mantis now in HD, and I'm here with my partner in crime, the one, the only, the twisted.
Hi, everyone. My name's Steve. I'm happy to be here.
The low energy grandfather you wish you never had, Steven, your uncle. No gimmicks.
You ever think about that comment, the grandfather you wish you never had? What if you're the grandchild and he just looks at you and he's just like, wow, my lineage ends with you?
Yeah, I had one of those.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I never knew my grandfather.
That's all right. I was a bastard too. Don't worry about it.
But yo, how you doing, man? How you doing?
Yo, Rico, what's good? I'm good. RizRadio.com, Riz Radio Live 365. Make sure you folks go over and check out the Riz Radio Nation station, so that way you can stay up to date with everything we got going on. Blogs, shows, broadcasting from a bunker from the end of the world. Kathleen Kennedy, I hope you burn in the deepest parts of
I love it, man. It's funny, the crazy reactions we're seeing all over. They're varied, right?
Right, very varied.
It's once again steeped in mystery. I know this is one of our major ones, and we usually do honorable mentions, but if you want to go hard and fast, but in a very straight way,
whoa,
we can talk about it.
A lot of words there. Do you have any honorable mentions?
I do. Here's what I've got for you. I'm sorry to stutter. This particular topic kind of sets me off. So I think you've probably heard that MCU has supposedly canceled a bunch of shows that they were going to make. Not second seasons of shows, but, Nova and the Strange Academy. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so, however, here's what it is. They're trying to tighten up the ropes. And Feige has made statements such as, not only has he tightening the ropes and not making all these extra shows, he promises that when shows have continuation seasons, he's going to make sure that they come out in just 1 year.
Okay.
This is what he claims. And then another claim he made is that both him and Mahershala have approved a Blade script.
I don't believe it.
I literally tweeted, I will believe that when I see it.
On your mother's face, Feige.
Yo, Mantis, don't you know, if you remember, but it's Reese. It's been, oh yeah, Reese, I remember you, dog. How are you? Yo, I like that icon you got on there.
That's
It's
cool.
very
I
cool.
man. It's
Yeah,
very
of course,
cool.
brother. Well, welcome to the stream. Fanboy Modeling School over here on the Riz Radio.
So let me see if I got that straight. Let me repeat back, mirror back to you what Kevin Feige in a moment of clarity, waking up from his heroin-induced psychosis, that canceling a bunch of shows, one of which people asked for, Nova. The other one people were extremely excited for. Some people, not a lot, but a very niche, strong contention. Strange Academy. People, I don't know, it's wildly popular.
Yeah, no, I know people are into it. I've never read it. I never read the comic, but I do know people are clamoring for it.
It's everything. If you love hijinks, young people, magic, that type of stuff, it was really well written. Very interesting stuff. And so we're canceling that. And Mahershala Ali and I have agreed on a script for Blade. Is the gist of this. And this came from where? Kevin Feige's mouth, or who said this?
The usual scoopers and scallywags you'll find on Twitter or Rumble or wherever. One of the sources was a homeless man
with herpes.
Oh, he's got herpes all over the place. How would I know, right? How would I know? You know what it is? There's scoopers. There's different tiers of scoopers, right? And so there's scoopers that we hate, like YouTuber X and all these idiots, right? And what is it, Daniel RPK, that dude. But then there are those pseudo journalistic things, like, there's the MCU source or MCU Daily, Marvel source, and these guys are kind of journalists. They're a little more reputable than YouTuber X, and they say it,
Okay. Well, hey man, anything's possible. I don't know why this has been making the rounds on Facebook, but there is a fan-made trailer for Brother Voodoo, aka Dr. Voodoo. Excuse me. Cocaine makes me sneeze. That's been making its way around Facebook, and I was like, why is this thing making its way around? And it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they drop these things to drum up excitement. You wouldn't have to do much for me to go see a Brother Voodoo, aka Dr. Voodoo. It was the pick for the fan-made film that caught my interest, and I'm sure it'd pique yours. You know that weird guy from that show you love, Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the pick for the fan film for Brother.
Oh, he'd be amazing. He would be amazing.
That would be actually really, really good. I'd be into that, man. I'd be very much into that. You see how much more excited I am to talk about some stuff that some weirdo in black Facebook made versus what you just talked about, which is just, and it's not you. It's not your fault. You're doing your job. I'm not mad at you for bringing it up. I'm mad about hearing the letters BLADE mixed together and conjoined, making a word that sounds like Blade. And then I hear another word, movie, which it's never going to happen, folks. And if it does happen, I'm going to be excited until I get there. And it's about big, beautiful women fighting to prove their independence in a world dominated by white vampires.
So basically what I believe these announcements are trying to convey is that I think one of the biggest complaints about the MCU is that they start all these stories, they give us all these end credit scenes, they never finish them, never follow through. And I think he's saying like, we're going to do multiple seasons of other shows before we focus on making even more new stuff. And I respect that. I think that's a good move.
He's not saying anything.
And then the blade thing is,
right.
I think he knows, or whoever is putting this out there, who wants to make Marvel look good better than he intelligently knows to make them look good. Like he could just say this stuff and they look good, but he doesn't. He's not smart enough to do that. The person who's doing that, I think they know that people all around, of all shapes, colors, and sizes, one of the biggest things they hate about Marvel is their inability to give us a Blade movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they're like, we have to get this thing out if we're going to keep our jobs.
You know I love you, man, right? We've been friends for a long time, and I'm gonna choose a different behavior than I normally would, right? Usually I would start railing about how none of this is confirmed, but I realize we're a speculation show. So
we're a speculation show.
we report on the speculation, right? So I'm gonna play along with the psychosis right now. I'm gonna play along with the psychosis. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Here's what it is. I know that you're just scared of being hurt again. Right? The way they've hurt you for all these years with Blade.
I'm an older black man. I no longer feel pain. I am dead on the end. I'm just wondering when I start getting my free Newports. All right. One of those things.
Oh, those are in the mail, man.
I mean, listen, I would love for there to be a Blade movie, man. I've told you what I wanted for a fan, what I thought would have been a good way to incorporate him. I think Thunderbolts could have been a good plot device to bring characters like Blade and Moon Knight in street level, or it could have been Daredevil and like introduce him on that level. I hope this is true. Actually, I want Strange Academy, man. I want Brother Voodoo, Dr. Voodoo. Whatever name you guys want to go with. I know there's a contingent of you people that get really offended if you get the name wrong with Brother, aka Dr. Voodoo.
So here's what it is. I believe that it was originally Doctor. I believe in the 2000s, 2010s, they made him Brother Voodoo to make sure people knew how black he was. Like, in case you didn't know he was black, they added brother to it.
Dr. Voodoo wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. Because you know what? I'm not going to get into the racial politics of what was going on in Marvel, in my opinion.
But you understand what I'm saying? I really would enjoy a Blade movie, man. Like, I'm gonna go check it out. I'm gonna go see it whenever it comes out, if it ever comes out. I will be there to support, man. I don't think it's that difficult to make a Blade movie because he's a shallow character. I disagree entirely with whatever What's Her Face said. I just think that it's really simple to make a kick-ass, falling back on the cursing, man, a kick booty type of movie. Gosh, Willikers, G
Willikers, he's gonna stomp some.
Did I tell you the other day? I was on the phone with a buddy of mine, man. I'm getting out my car at like 10 o'clock at night after work, and it's when it was all the ice, and I like dropped something or slipped, and I'm trying not to curse, and I'm like, "Oh, gee whiz, man!" And my boy was like, "Yo, what's wrong with you?"
But do you realize that one of the problems that I think they're facing is I think that somewhere along the line, coked up Kevin Feige came to the belief that he's some sort of artist, and he's trying to make action movies more than what they're meant to be. And don't get me wrong, like the Russos definitely elevated the action movie. They took the superhero team and they made it next level. Not everyone can do that, but I don't think he understands that we would appreciate just these movies to just be action hero movies again.
Yeah.
I mean, want a hero to come in and kick people's asses.
Bro, it's not a difficult formula. You can have both. You just have to commit to not going places people don't want it to go, man. Like, again, Winter Soldier may be the gold standard on what you're looking for from an MCU movie. Infinity War, gold standard. Endgame, gold standards.
Yeah, absolutely.
In retrospect, Doctor Strange Part 1, every time I watch it, I notice something else. I'm like, why did I give this movie such a hard time when it came out? This is an excellent piece of comic book cinema.
I agree. And I too gave it a hard time. I too was like, here's what it is. We were so impressed with the crazy spectacle of the other movies. When Doctor Strange came out, it was just a standard origin. And we're like, it was okay.
Yeah.
But looking back on it, it's a great movie.
It's absolutely amazing. That last scene, when he's rewinding time to see what happened in China, not that I'm wishing bad things happen in China, but something bad did happen in China, and I was like, yeah. I'm a broken man, Doge.
Yeah. So you know what? Why don't we jump right into one of our cover stories, Doge, right?
Right.
So, question: did we vote for this? I did vote for this. I actually did vote for this.
But what do you mean by this?
That's a good question right there. So I voted for change. I voted for the person who is currently president to go into the Oval Office and shake things up, Shrink government, make things more efficient. I definitely voted for that. I definitely knew that was what he was aiming to do.
Okay.
I feel not, and here's what I'm saying. I want it to be clear. I am not saying the firings are wrong. What I am saying is I feel the circus act that the way they're going about it is I think you have phrased it once that these people are ruining my lives. They are making society in general scared and tense and afraid. And even I was against the thing where Elon was like, he's like, you all have to send me an email of 5 bullet points of what you accomplished last week or you're fired. What kind of asshole boss would say that? Imagine receiving that email.
You know what it is? When you see Elon on stage with a chainsaw with smoke coming out of it, it makes you think that. I've been telling you this, man, and I've been telling other people this, man. People are looking for a sense of normality. Like they just want things to be stable and predictable. And it's just, you just have this pendulum swing. And I'm not going to a moderate point of philosophy. I'm just telling you that there's a reason that DEI is under attack, because you let certain things jump on there and then that becomes the conversation and now everyone's screwed. And it's the same thing with the Elon thing. Everyone was content with him looking for government waste if he didn't come on stage doing weird hand gestures and then saying weird stuff like this, man. You want your politicians to be normal.
Because it's funny, we were already criticizing the left for having a bunch of weirdos as their politicians, and now you have the dude, like you said, he's wearing like he's wearing like a Metallica t-shirt that's too small for him, and a little blazer and a chainsaw and like a Doge hat. I'm like,
but where is Vivek? Where did they stash Vivek, man?
So he's running for Ohio governor. So he backed down out of Doge so he could run for governor.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and so you're right. They needed a Vivek, a guy who's gonna be normal. You know, I just, here's what it is. Like I said, I am fine with the tossing and turning of the government, but it has reached spectacle levels, and I just kind of want them to mellow out. Also, when
it's too late for all that. Crazy train. You voted for it. It's full throttle ahead. The mutants are coming to release the velociraptors, bro.
Because you realize that they literally said at the beginning, this might have been before the election. They said when we shrink the government, and in their hypothetical firings, they're like, we're going to show every employee dignity. Basically, they're throwing people out immediately out of their offices and stuff.
Well, wait, who got fired today? There was a mass firing where?
Oh, I can't even keep up anymore.
No, you entertain the people, because there was actually.
I will hit you off with some facts before people think that it's the end of the world, and I assure you it's not the end of the world. It just the way the media is covering it makes it seem like it's the end of the world. We are not even close to the number of firings that happened during COVID for government employees that refused to get the COVID booster shot.
Let's see.
We're not even close to that number. So there were more firings under Biden due to COVID than there is happening now. And so that didn't topple the economy. That didn't destroy us. Right. So I doubt this will. Right. Here's what I'm saying. A bunch of park rangers and a bunch of people at the Board of Education are going to be out of jobs. And I'm kind of comfortable with that.
So here's where this kind of hits close to home, right? And again, I'll stand on this hill, man. I have a son that has special needs and requires programs that are provided for people in my tax bracket, man. It'll be interesting to see how that whole thing's gonna play out. Now, don't be that guy, right? And I know you're not. Whenever I've said something like, "Hey, this is where this impacts me," people are like, "Oh no, you're just over." I'm like, no, well, you haven't really provided a response of how it's not going to. You're just, placating and overstepping. In what department of education is he firing people? I know they want to dismantle the education system, or
no. Here's what it is. they want to take apart the Department of Education. And so the Department of Education is the federal system that oversees all the schools. Schools will continue. They'll still be just as funded. No money is being taken from schools.
Okay.
But they're trying to stop this overlord group, the Department of Education, that tells all schools what to teach and how to teach. And some of the major things, the reason why this is I'm not going to front. This isn't a conspiracy theory. A lot of it is the trans stuff.
Right.
When schools were starting to push that, people wanted to dismantle this thing for a long time, but that was also a stepping stone where people were like, yo, they're now telling us that they are a federal institution that can tell like local schools how and what to teach. And so this is an attempt to get rid of DEI. This is a way to get rid of wokeness from schools. This is how they're saying to do this. But from what I've heard, and this is, once again, I'm hearing this, supposedly smart people on the television are claiming to me that the schools won't lose any money.
Okay. So to surmise that it's all about pushing out the agenda of the LGBTQIA plus community narratives. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and DEI in general.
Okay, so let's park it at the DEI thing. What qualifies DEI? What is the going definition of why there shouldn't be? What is that an acronym for?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Okay. So
like any good acronym, when you hear the words, it doesn't make any more sense. Right?
So what? Give me an example of what type of people are they trying to prevent from getting?
Or certain policies. I'll give you an example. There's policies. There had been a growing disdain for academic achievement. And here's what it is. I'm not saying that this is DEI, but I'm giving you an example of a policy that the Department of Education would back. There was this idea that getting good grades or being on time for stuff is a white trait and therefore is white supremacy, and that they were trying to teach schools to stop grading on those. That wouldn't be the standard anymore. Then there suddenly was a talk that the problem, mathematics is white supremacist because white mathematics demands a correct answer. There isn't a subjective answer. There's an objective truth to that. And they wanted to eliminate this idea. And they're like, there are different ways to teach math where kids don't necessarily have to get the correct answer. Now, for me, I think that's totally insane. I think anyone who pitches this or believes this is a complete psychopath, and I would fight them. Right. I would physically fight them if they came at me with this. Right, they're like, we want to teach your kids that they don't need to have the right answers in schools. I would say you're a menace. You need to be locked up.
Right.
But apparently this was a growing concept. And so it's ideas like that. When I hear about these things, I'm like, then get rid of this department.
Okay. I got you. Okay. Now, and that it will translate into hiring practices, is what you're saying? Is the major issue? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Board of Education is threatening to hire a bunch of non-arithmetic using, no fact standing type of people. And that's what so DEI hires have nothing to do with the actual color of
I'm sure those standards would go as well, like color and what is it? I guess, what do they call them? Protected classes or something?
Well, yeah, you're a part of a protected class. Yes.
Yes.
But, we're both a part of a protected class. And this is where, yes. And this is where I wonder, do you think society, my friend, is in a place where they can remove the protective class status of Black people? It would be okay.
Yeah, I don't believe in protected classes.
Okay.
Like, I just don't think there should be any at all.
So you don't think naturally things would roll back to the good old days, this America?
Here's my question. Here's my question.
Answer my question first.
I'm going to answer your question with my question.
No. I will answer your question. I would like to hear your answer.
Okay, so no, I don't. And so here's my smart aleck answer, which is really a question.
Okay.
Are they saying that, and I'm just going to say it right now, are they saying that blacks are so savage and uneducated that if they don't perpetually have a system that chooses them in sports, chooses them in school, chooses them in the hiring practices, that they will revert back to a savage behavior that makes them unhireable, uneducationable, if that's even a word?
It's not, but it's okay.
And just unruly people? Is it that black people are incapable of being hired? Is that what they're saying? Because that's what
I think
that's what it's coming off as.
No, it's the inverse. It's the inverse, which is not that black people will revert back to some Cro-Magnon state. It's that the societal systems that were in play prior to these things would come flushing back. In fact, this would be more of an indictment on the practices of the people who black people are trying to protect themselves from.
Okay, so yeah, no, I still am a strong no, because I don't believe the world is as racist as the left people tell me it is.
What about
their obsession with racism? Everything is racist. Everything in America is freaking racist. Yeah, right.
So you believe at this point in your life, you believe that what racism is conquered, or that we're in a place in society where the black man will get a fair shake?
I believe we can only beat racism so much. There's always going to be racism. I bet you if we fly to the 31st century where everyone has world peace and shit, there's still going to be some bigoted ass kid out there who, when he's losing a video game, is going to pull out the N-word.
Well, that's different. That's different than structural power, right? I think that's what people, to represent the argument of people who are vying for a DEI, and in the traditional sense, is that, hey, this was created because there were disparities in hiring practices and socioeconomic practices. And there's still evidence of that today. There's the whole price gouging if a low income family tries to sell their house as opposed to another type of family. And this this data can't be ignored. I'm talking about that type of stuff.
Here's what it is. I certainly believe throughout history we have needed it. Like, I'm absolutely pro desegregating things by force. I am pro Kennedy sending in the National Guard to make sure black students can go to that high school.
Yes,
I am absolutely pro these things. I think throughout history we have had to have them. I don't feel that in America. I don't feel like it's like that in America. As a matter of fact, before all these you know what my golden age America is? Early 2000s. The early 2000s was like the perfect state, the least amount of racists. Everyone tolerated each other. It was a beautiful, beautiful world.
Do you think that's euphoric recall? Because you and I remember the 2000s entirely different. You and I remember the 2000s entirely different. I remember Zeus getting pulled off a train. True, he did spit on the platform, but they didn't need to pull him off the train.
This is what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying is he wasn't hassled by cops because of the color of his skin. He was hassled by cops because he was spitting on a platform and the color of his skin.
So let me see if I got this straight. As many times as you've spit on the sidewalk, do you think that is a reason to pull someone off the train physically?
I mean,
come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Bro, you and I both grew up in New York, man. You know how many times I've caught the train at Penn Station and seen people of the not my variety acting a fool, and the cops not doing it? Come on.
Here's what I'm saying. As an adult, I am a broken windows types of law enforcement guy.
Okay.
And so for those who don't know, it's a philosophy of law enforcement is that cops should have to spend the time to investigate every small minor crime, even a broken window. They come across an alley, they find a broken window, they have no evidence, they need to investigate it. You know why? Right. Because when you start letting the little things go, bigger things happen, right? And when we were young, we were spitting on Subway, we were doing way worse things. I'll tell the audience right now, I have pissed, thrown up, and probably done some other foul things on every inch of the subway system that we are allowed in. Right?
Okay, so you're in using your system. The appropriate response for that would be a summons, a fine, a ticket, but you definitely shouldn't be manhandled by the police. And that's where we start to miss each other in this conversation.
So you know why the example is bad? I don't fully remember all the details of when Zeus spit on the thing.
I was there. I'm giving you.
I know you are, but I'm saying for me to understand if they went too far, I'd have to remember it in detail, and I don't.
See, and that's the thing right there. That's exactly where the conversation starts going left for people. I know you didn't do it intentionally, but what you just did there was like, whoa, hey, listen, I didn't experience it, so I can't say if it was right or wrong unless I'm saying it's wrong comparatively to the viewpoint that I hold.
So here's what here's what's going on. Okay. If you're telling me that I am in the middle of pissing all over a wall,
he wasn't pissing. He's
I'm giving you an example right now. We're not talking about that example. We need to get rid of that example because it's a bad example. Because only one of us knows about it. Okay. So let's say I'm pissing or whatever,
right?
And a cop grabs me. He manhandled. The word manhandle is used. The real question is, what does manhandle mean? How much force? There certainly isn't a amount of force they should be allowed to use.
Oh, wait, those are two different crimes. So let's move to your example. Did you know peeing is a form of exposing yourself, and that's why it's a higher crime than, say, spitting, for instance?
Okay, fine, spitting. Let's go back to spitting. Fine, I spit, and a cop grabs me.
Yeah.
And so you'd have to define how much force he actually had. Now, for instance,
what's the appropriate amount of force for spitting?
Here's what I'm saying. Like, if I have a bruise or break blood or something like that, obviously inappropriate. A cop grabbing me and shaking me or something, that's not the end of the world. I am fine with that level of law enforcement.
But is that okay? So does that correlate?
At no point do I believe that while cops are serving the law, that they should not allowed to use some level of force.
But wait,
to do that,
are they enforcing the law as well? And are they to live to the standard of the law? Because
I don't understand the difference.
Okay, so there's a reason that there's an appropriate amount of force allowed to be used as a police officer, and it's broken down into scenarios, right? So someone is being rolly and just acting crazy in the streets. You might have to subdue them. You use the appropriate amount of force to subdue them. Yeah. It's like, and no one's going to question that. Oh, his arm got broken while you were taking him down. Well, the guy was threatening to stab everyone on the train. But you and I both know from our experience as men growing up in New York, come on, man. Cops
obviously some cops are gonna be pricks. They're gonna do, and a lot of them will be like, no one's gonna challenge this if I punch this guy right now.
See, and that's what I'm talking about. That's where we make small concessions and we admit to some experiential things and compare that against a larger truth, right? By you admitting that doesn't mean that all cops have used inappropriate force. But what I am saying is we have to acknowledge that they have, and some haven't, right? And then we start to look at the scenario, even when we start to look at DEI hirings. Here's the way I look at this, right? DEI, like the video I sent you in Shaolin, started off as a necessary response to a very corrupt system. You can't change history, folks. And that's what a lot of people want to do when we're having this conversation. They're like, I'm like, no. We can talk about today, but we're not going to remix what happened in the past, right? So that it was, affirmative action was a required response to structural racism. My official stance on it is that other parties started to latch on to this movement and they have ruined that conversation.
So that's the problem. That's the problem with regulation in general. So I really actually do believe that we should either have to revote. I think regulation should have to have a duration, and they should have to revote it back into power every time, because what it is regulation always mutates. If you ever notice that, like you said at the beginning, it was about making sure that black men and women had a fair shake in the workforce.
Right.
And then 30 years later, it's something totally different, helping totally different people, not even for its original intent. And nobody regulated the regulation that was just sitting there. It was a law just mutating and turning into a monster.
Right.
And so I just think any type of regulation, we should always revisit it and be like, do we still need to do this?
Do we still need to do it, or do we not make it so broad to include anyone past this original thing?
Whatever. Check that it's working in the spirit that it was meant to be. No. You know what I mean?
Right then and there in that conversation, it's like, it's very specific. What is the intent of this? Okay, this was made so this group of people get a fair shake in this environment. What does this other group of people have to do with this? Now, why does this group of people lose it? Because this group of people burns your gills as a conservative, right? And that's where I know that there had to be some subterfuge where it was like there had to be a helping hand to make this group a part of this group and this struggle. Now, the problem was this group should have said, no, thank you. No.
They should have spoke up. There should have been a fight.
Well, no, they don't have to do anything. But what they should have done was not allowed other people in popular media to grab hold of the conversation.
What it is that the other people you're talking about, they took baby steps. You know, they're like that house guest that keeps on taking more and more. Next thing you know, you're like, this motherfucker's been living here 3 months, and he walks around my house in his boxers, and he drinks my milk and doesn't use a glass. Like, what the fuck? How did this happen?
Yeah, you know what's funny? I think that's a wildly hilarious piece of symbolism there. I don't even think they took baby steps. In fact, I was having a conversation tonight where it's like, if you go to certain parts of Hollywood, the amount of wealth and infrastructure that's been amassed in decades versus hundreds of years is staggering to me.
Right.
Staggering. Yeah. It's absolutely staggering. So no, they didn't take baby steps. They took a step and then started running. And somehow
they ran with it. Yeah, they ran with it.
And somehow amassed so much power where it now it's backfired on them. But they, there were some strays. So that was a long-winded way of me saying that the way I look at, DEI hires, man, I know that my people group and other people groups like, blacks, browns, yellows, different races of people have more than the capability of doing it. And then these things start to impact other people because Asian kids weren't being allowed to get their fair shake. And it just starts to morph into something else.
Yeah, like you heard about that, the Asian kid who's suing. So he gotta go. This kid is such a genius that he was hired by Google right out of high school.
And what's he suing about? Sounds like
he applied to all these Ivy League schools,
right?
And none of them let him in.
But he got a job at Google. What's the problem?
I feel you. I mean, I'm not greedy. I would be satisfied with that, but
you don't hear basketball players who went from high school to the league like, oh gosh, man, just couldn't get into Harvard after this $80 million contract.
They got to skip college. Yeah, no.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, man. You know what, man? I'm fortunate enough to have a Christian worldview on these things, and I know the depths of human evil and depravity. So I don't believe if you remove the rungs of societal chains, watch me use a Christian nationalism argument against everyone else. I don't believe you remove the societal chains that we'll see a utopic society. In fact, I think just like the Christian nationalists believe, wink, wink, nah, no enemies to my right, that laws restrain evil.
I think it totally depends on the law. Like, I think that's like a gray thing going on. There's no black and white on that one, friend.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm saying. Evil and racism will return, and they will mess up somebody's life.
Right.
And when that starts becoming habitual, that's when we need to make a new regulation. Not allow a festering old wounded one to keep messing things up.
What did you think of that video I sent you in Shaolin about the guy talking about DEI? Do you want to play?
Oh yeah, no, that was a good vid.
Yeah, I think he has the most accurate assessment of what's going to happen because let me ask you a very pragmatic question, my friend, right? And this is a deep one, so you're probably gonna have to take a moment to really think about it since we're recorded on the internet. How long do you think it's going to take you to learn Mandarin or Cantonese?
I couldn't even learn my mother's tongue, so oh man.
Are you ready for a little Chinese boot on the back of your neck, as they said in Archer, the animated series?
Do you think we'll be like, I think we'll be old men when it happens.
I don't want it to happen. I'm going to fight for my family. But that's what I'm saying. At what point does America look and go, we are stronger together as many people groups in one country as opposed to now? Are you of the thinking that what's going on right now in the Trump administration is helping to strengthen America? Like,
I do think it's
okay.
here's what it is. I think it's working to strengthen America the way Apocalypse strengthens his people, in that the strong will eat the weak.
Right.
But I do think that the strong at the end will take out Canada and will take out China, and I'm fine with that outcome.
Wow.
I mean, I'm fine with what is happening here.
We've gone all over the place. Yeah, Elon wasn't the guy for this job, man. I keep trying to tell you guys, man. You live by the Elon, you die by the Elon. And before it was that, it was you live by the Ye, you die by the Ye. I remember when conservatives were all over Ye's jock, and I tried to warn all of y'all. I'm like,
I have this dear friends of mine, white family from Alabama, who goes to my church, and they used to always be about Ye, and they were like, Kanye's so great, he's a good Christian, and all this stuff. And I was like, he's literally he's saying things. He's like, and Jesus wept, and then he'll start talking about a hoe that he tricked out. You know what I'm saying? So he had everyone fooled with his occasionally talking about Jesus. Right?
I don't even think he had everyone fooled. He was a mentally ill person, and what happens is when you put a microphone in front of someone who's struggling with mental health issues long enough, eventually they're gonna say some colorful stuff on that.
Well, what it is they seem next level. You know, they're like, they don't think like me. This guy's a genius.
Yeah.
Why can't my mind be as expanded as him? Fucking hoes and loving Jesus at the same time. This guy's enlightened, right? But back on slightly on the DEI thing. I'm assuming you heard about Joy Reid.
I did hear about Joy Reid, man. Joy Reid.
So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I knew it was coming. She probably had to know it was coming, man. Like, they got Don Lemon is gone, Chris Cuomo's gone. You know, she was the last one hanging on from that crew. It does not surprise me. She released a statement or a vlog statement as to why she feels this happened to her. And of course, she says that she's gone hard for the marginalized. I'm giving you the surmised version. She's gone hard for the marginalized and spoken against evil, and eventually, this is the end result. And it also has to do with ratings, I would say, as well. I'm not actually into anchors getting fired behind political pushes. I don't think Tucker Carlson should have lost his spot on Fox. I'm not a Tucker Carlson guy, but I feel as if though you just give too much strength to that conversation when you start firing people over socially political issues, unless they're dropping hard R's and hard, if they're up there dropping hard R's, long S's, and every other slur, then just kind of
I do think I think it had both to do with her yapping. Here's what it is. I think she had low ratings, like both MSNBC and CNN are struggling, right?
Yeah.
Low ratings, but also when you look at like all the people you have to fire, probably the loudmouth asshole is the one you go for first, right?
Wait, let me ask you a question, man. And I don't agree with Joy Reid, right? I'm not supporting Joy Reid. I'm sorry, Mom. She's not my, whatever. But is she a truth teller? Is she standing up for what's right? And she should she be treated as such?
So I don't think so. And here's what's funny is when she did her statement, and I've seen scenes of her like crying when she starts tearing up. I felt really bad for her.
Oh,
this is messed up. I don't want to see anybody cry, right? I want you to take your lickings, but like be able to take them,
right?
Like a man,
like men have been doing.
But then I stumbled upon a Megyn Kelly video, and she was like, "Here's why you shouldn't have tears for her." And she was just showing clips of Joy Reid saying wild, ridiculous things.
Yeah,
constantly comparing Trump to Hitler. Constantly basically creating the divide in this country that will eventually lead to our civil war, right? And I think that is bad for society. And if you're into it, watch it, but
Megyn Kelly doesn't get to judge anyone. She's a provocateur. She's also saying things that will lead to the decline of society.
I think comparing Trump in any way to like Hitler or Nazis is like, in my opinion, crazy.
Yeah, but also sitting up on stage and saying that Jesus is white is very problematic.
No, what it is that's silly. That's not
Silly.
Civil War inspiring.
That's not silly, bro. We're talking about the most historically important individual in all of human history.
No, but it's funny. It's funny that, like, some country girl is like, and Jesus was white. Everyone knows that, right? Like, that is objectively funny.
It is not objectively funny. You're an apologist for a bigot. That woman is a racist. I don't use that word very lightly. And here, let me tell you why she's a racist. She is the classic racist, right? She's the bless your heart.
Yeah, the bless your heart thing.
Yeah. But anyway, like I feel bad for Joy Reid, man. I would have preferred to see everyone at The View get fired before her, to be honest with you.
That would be gold.
Like, I would have kept Joy Reid and watched The View burn.
I fell for the biggest fake news situation the other day. On Twitter. They were making rounds where they claimed that Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens were going to create a counter View on CBS. And I was like, oh, that's going to be awesome. But that turned out to be completely fake.
Yeah, Candace Owens is not getting up there with that washed blonde.
No, Candace Owens, and I'm not saying she's shucking and driving for a paycheck, but I'm saying you pay her enough, she will do a show with anybody.
Listen, Megyn Kelly is washed, man. She sold out a long time ago when she went to the Today Show network.
Both of these women will if they are paid money, they will do it.
That's what you're counting on. You just want to see how low that denominator is.
That's what all these people are here for. These entertain news people.
Right.
They're somewhere between entertainment and news. They are here to dance when I tell them to dance, and I throw dollars at them. Candace Owens serves her purpose by having crazy conspiracies. And that's why I love when I tune into her show and she says something wild. I'm like, you're doing your job. Go to work. That's what you're here for. Right. And I think the same way for Megyn Kelly. I think the Megyn Kelly fans like it when she says Jesus was white, right? Like,
of course they do, man. Of course they do. Yeah, Joy Reid, man, it's crazy. You got to be careful what you say about Joy Reid, though, because there is so many things that are the absolute thing to get you ostracized or completely not talked to by a family member. And I think speaking bad on Joy Reid is one of those things. What is the zeitgeist of the political arena saying about it? What are the Dems saying about Joy Reid getting canceled and fired?
Well, Don Lemon had a total flip out.
Oh, Donnie.
Yeah, he flipped out, and he actually mentioned Megyn Kelly, and he used the F word on his show about her. And then Rachel Maddow, who still has a show, but remember, she took a huge pay cut to keep her show.
Right.
She $5 million less a year, which that's whoa. But she actually paused her show for a little bit to talk about how much she loves Joy Reid, and she thinks she's like, it's foolish to let her walk out that door. So I gotta say, I am doing a little dancing on the grave tonight.
Oh, okay. Who's this good?
No, I'm saying Joy Reid. I'm saying I'm not gonna lie. It feels like a victory. I agree with you. It would be way more personal victory if it was those hags from The View, man.
Why? What did Joy Reid do to you?
I'm saying just all the racist, crazy rhetoric, crazy things that she says, and just like I just don't like her. Why does it make you laugh so much?
Why are you watching her? You should stay in a safe space.
No,
man.
Like I said, I've seen clips of her. I don't
clips out of context.
No, they were in context. The context was clear, just like my View clips. Reese says the video game industry has a severe issue with these types of things to the point where developers pit their tanking AAA budget games because they pop off about eliminating whites from them.
It's true.
It's true. It's kind of crazy.
Video game industry is struggling with this right now. Yeah,
It's
man. I don't.
crazy.
Yeah, I just wish the world was more reasonable, like me, man. You're
In the early 2000s, they were.
no, they weren't. You're a crazy person. You're an absolute crazy. You really do have euphoric recall, bro. We lived through the first vote of Bush Jr. And I remember how crazy that was. What are you talking about? There were planes being flown into buildings. When is this reasonable time? You people all
Well, I mean, that was the Muslims, and so you know, they've always been wiling out, but
we
like,
grew up in the 80s. It was the crack demic in Manhattan.
but I'm saying when it hit the 2000s for that decade right there, right?
No.
I believe that it was the ultimate time of, here's what I'm saying, ultimate time we've ever had of tolerance between the races.
Tolerance between,
and it's funny that you mentioned the Bush the Bush Gore thing. I believe the Bush Gore thing was the start of this massive hatred Democrats and Republicans have for each other right now. I don't think it was as bad before that.
Well, I mean, let's just say I remember Bush Sr.'s presidency, and I also vaguely remember the Reagan era presidency.
Right.
You know, he also famously showed up to the UN and called some people monkeys, right? Got away with that. So some people argue that he was saying, no, they're behaving like monkeys. That could also be fake. Who knows? But yeah, I definitely partisan. But the 2000s, I just remember wildly different Latin kings running around. There were Bloods in New York.
Here's what I'm saying. I wasn't saying that racism didn't exist. I just think that in our time, it was the best that it could be.
We were just beating
because if you went back into the 90s and the 80s, you were getting increasingly more racist, right? And after you leave the 2010s, as you go up, it gets increasingly more racist.
Right.
But if you both head down, the 2000 through 2010 was like, what do they call that? It was a valley or whatever.
Right.
Now, was it a valley hitting the center of the earth? No, it wasn't. It wasn't zero.
It was the best of a shitty time, is what you're saying.
Yes. Out of the shitty times, it was the best of the shitty time. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
No problem. I'm having a good time tonight. So I heard a older white woman got let go from her job as well.
Okay, yeah. So Kathleen Kennedy of Lucasfilm, people who I've never seen more rumors about this woman being fired or killed than any other celebrity or person. For the last 7 or 8 years, it has been constant. This people rooting for her demise.
Right.
And I have to admit, this is pretty late in the game. So she is not getting her contract renewed.
Right.
But still, she ran the ball real far.
Oh, I thought she was going to die in that office.
My grandkids were going to have to suffer under her force of female stuff.
Now, we have a way of reacting to this as fans in this nerdom, in this subculture that everyone clings on to as if it's Moses bringing down the tablets, right? I sent you a video. I want to see what normal weirdos are saying about this now. This is from The Hill. You're not going to like these people. One of them is a conservative. The other is a liberal. But I want to see how regular society is reacting to the potential of this news. And I want to see, because right away, I saw something happen that hasn't happened in a while. What is that? Star Wars Theory and your boy, League of Nerd Legend. What is the guy's name? I can never remember the name of his channel. They had a show with each other for Den of Nerds.
Den of Nerds. There we go.
They were on
League of Nerds, League of Geeks.
Weirdos that lean against the wrong side of the pool. They were on stream with each other, man. You haven't seen them together in the same space.
Oh yeah, no, that is weird. I haven't seen
United in the Demise of Kennedy. Critical Drinker has released stuff. I haven't checked in with Tyron Magnus, and everyone seems to be excited. But what does this practically mean for the next few movies? Like, does that mean there's no Rey movie coming? Does that mean that they're going to scrap everything? Is Jon Favreau? What does it all mean?
Well, so who's going to take the job is the question. Who's going to take her job?
Kanye West.
I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it because here's something we have to think about, right?
Right.
The second highest grossing box office movie ever is also one of only 2 movies to ever make $2 billion, or 3 movies to ever make $2 billion or more, and that is The Force Awakens. Right? That was at when she took the reins. That was the beginning of Kathleen Kennedy, right?
Yes.
Now they put out product that people don't show up for.
Right.
The television shows don't even rank on the ratings. When they do the ratings, they don't even make top 10.
Right.
That's how few people are watching them. I remember for the Skeleton Crew, I had to twist your and Shaolin's arm to watch. I don't even know if you guys ended up watching it.
I didn't watch it.
Right. And so, but I'm saying there would have been a day back in the day, no one would consider missing out on a Star Wars thing.
Right. That's very true.
And this is all this woman. It's been here's what it is. It's obviously she didn't rate every bad episode of everything, but I'm saying it's under her leadership that they took one of the most powerful brands and drove it straight into the ground.
You know what? You're cooking right now, man. You're cooking.
I'm very passionate about hating on this woman. Shallon says Johnny Favs. Yes, Johnny Favs. He would be amazing. Or Dave Filoni. It's definitely not. I don't think it should be Filoni. I think he's too into his own creations from the cartoon realm. Like he's into the Rebels. I don't like the Rebels. Ahsoka, I've had enough of her being the perfect goddess of the Force. We need to move on.
Why are you such a hater? When did this happen to you?
I was abused as a child.
Clearly,
by a woman who reminds me of Joy Reid.
All right, hit it. Let's see what these normal nerds, these highly educated people.
Okay.
The head of Lucasfilm is reportedly expected to go far, far away and leave the studio that makes Star Wars films by the end of the year. Now, this has many conservatives, including myself, jumping for joy. Why? Because Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy wokeified the franchise. Now, Puck first reported the news on Monday night, citing a source familiar with it. Another source said that nothing had actually been decided yet.
Kennedy joined the company in 2012. Disney bought it a few months later. George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, left shortly after.
Kennedy relaunched the Star Wars franchise in 2015. From 2015 to 2019, Disney released a new Star Wars movie every year. The first was The Force Awakens, which grossed more than $2 billion globally.
In U.S. box office history, it is the highest grossing film. The Rise of Skywalker in 2019, however, earned just half of that.
Many right-leaning Star Wars fans put the blame on Kathleen Kennedy for the franchise's decline. In 2018, Solo, a Star Wars story.
The wait is finally over.
That's right, guys. I don't pay for YouTube.
With an all-new production.
I just didn't know I was surrounded by so much
first
poverty.
Star Wars movie to lose money at the box office. Kennedy also oversaw.
It's not poverty. Okay, here's what it is. Why should they get my dollars? Why should they get my dollars? These woke animals. It's a boycott. It is a boycott.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. That film lost around $140 million.
Well, that was horrible.
In May 2024, Kennedy told the New York Times, operating within these giant franchises now with social media and the level of expectation, it's terrifying. I think a lot of the women who stepped into Star Wars struggle with this a bit more because of the fan base being so male-dominated. They sometimes get attacked in ways that can be quite personal.
Oof.
Even George Lucas's ex-wife Marcia.
If I could elaborate, so she's Kathleen Kennedy is saying it's tough to run one of these companies, entertainment companies, in the age of social media and yada yada yada. She did her worst damage to herself and her brand from her own press conferences. So remember how she had told us basically that she was going to do her best to replace all the main characters or have every main character be a female. She toted out shirts that said the Force is female. And when an interviewer asked her, what about all the male fans that originally liked this? She said, I feel no reason that I have to cater to the original fan base.
Those are words that you say when you think you got so much power.
Yeah, she was like, oh man, she was really into herself. And yeah, she thought she was untouchable. She was flying. She flew too close to the sun, as they say. But all the things that I'm talking about, she did in press conferences. It wasn't like social media leaks that destroyed her. It was her own words in press conferences.
No, yeah, absolutely. It was hubris. But also, I mean, again, all right, man. Listen, can we you and I can acknowledge, just me, you, and whoever else watches this video, there are some weirdos out there. Some weirdos. some weirdos.
So, it's so funny because we were having just not a debate, but a strong discussion about DEI and my strong feelings against it, right? And I'm against wokeness too, right? But the funny thing is, I also hate anti-wokers. People who are obsessed with whether something is woke or not, and they need to do it. And I kind of like seeing them eat crap too.
Oh, see, that's what makes us a moderate show, right? Not moderate, like we can't pick a side. Wrong is wrong, right is right. We have no problem saying that. Right. But some of y'all are just weird. Do it. Weird.
That's a flop. Yeah, like for instance, there's a rumor going around that Zendaya is going to be in a Star Wars movie, and people are like, "Who do you think she's going to be cast as?" And I was like, "They should cast her as Mara Jade, who is, in the books, Luke Skywalker's wife." And I was like, so that all the anti-woke guys can lose their minds.
Yes,
that would be great. I would love that.
I would absolutely love that. Wait, but let me just okay. Come on, man. Like, Kathleen Kennedy did damage to herself. She did damage to the property, but at the same time, there was an unrealistically, weird reaction to some of this stuff, man. But again, I don't think you should put your hand down, when you see a hook coming at you. And this is exactly why I don't want Idris Elba to be Batman. Why the hell would I want to put Idris through that? You say,
remember, I said 10, 15 years ago when he was younger, he'd be a good Batman.
No. 10, 15 years ago, he still would have caught racism.
He would have caught the anti-woke hook. You're right. It would have knocked him right out. One, I like enraging those people, but also he would have been just a great Batman. Shellin says Mantis is a man of balance.
No, he's not. This man is not a man of balance. I'm the balance in his life. If it wasn't for me, who knows what the hell he'd be saying on this microphone right now.
Well, you're against men of color playing superheroes.
No, not superheroes. You see what you did there? You went far right on me again. You totally misrepresented what I said. I'm against remixing heroes, unless it doesn't matter, like they're a small time character.
Right. Like for instance, I'm super excited for Wonder Man.
Yeah, nobody cares about Wonder Man being black.
Yeah, Are you? And I was actually a fan of his comic book, and I actually collected his comic book.
I remember you telling me that. I thought that the first time you said that, I was like, "Oh, this guy's definitely a serial killer."
So the thing is, it's a great thing, and basically, he's the Johnny Cage of the Avengers, and so and that could be any race act like a Johnny Cage type.
I think they should cancel that show right now.
No. It's gonna make my Christmas.
Take no chances. Cancel it, man.
It's coming out in December. I can't wait. So my Marvel can't waits are Fan 4 and Wonder Man, and that's it for the year. Oh, and Daredevil. I'm sorry, Daredevil.
It's weird. Okay.
Let's see what your white nerd has to say.
Ash Kennedy's rendition of the franchise, Marsha told The Times that Kennedy had no clue about Star Wars. One gripe critics have is that Kennedy has tried crowbarring leftist ideological themes into the movies. Some of these include overcasting of diverse female Jedis and adding a storyline about so-called lesbian space witches. Critics also said the films tried making them hate Luke Skywalker and unnecessarily killed off beloved characters for the sake of diversity. Managing editor of the Babylon Bee, Joel Berry, wrote on X, Kathleen Kennedy's tenure at Lucasfilm shows us what happens when you try to make art out of spite and hatred. Her work over the decade has been little more than performative malice against the Western mythos and the men who built it. Just a miserable body of work.
Co-owner of popular YouTube page Star Wars Explained, Molly Damon, wrote on Blue Sky, "The folks who have been campaigning for Kathleen Kennedy to step down will try and make you think they were right all along. Don't let it get to you. Let the woman retire in peace if that's what's happening. She deserves nothing but respect and gratitude for her years of service and compassion. If I were her, I'd step down too and move out of this hellscape of a country.
Writer.
For those who don't know, Molly and Alex are the married couple who run the Star Wars Explained channel, and I think this is interesting about the fan base. Star Wars Theory, who I don't know if you've heard this, he has been banned from conventions.
Yeah, I did hear that.
He's been banned from conventions. He has like over 3 million subscribers. People love him, and he hates Lucasfilm, and he's against everything they're doing, right? And then meanwhile, you have Molly and Alex on Star Wars Explained, and they're complete shills for Lucas. And I think they have under 1 million, and so those are the things that the fans are choosing the guy who hates the company over the fanboy of the company.
I mean, 100%, and as they should in certain instances. I mean, I don't always agree with everything the Star Wars Theory says, man, but for the most part, I just got to get his back on a lot of this, man, which is he's been consistent. And I know all this actually comes from, I've had some strong words in the past, but only when I've been like, dude, stop crying. But he's been consistent in regard
and like you said, genuine. I think that is his genuine thoughts. He's not clickbaiting. These are his real opinions.
Not at all, man. And you know what? He seems like a pretty stand-up dude, man. And he was at a convention. I was watching something on his channel the other day where he didn't get his merch there quick enough, but he was there. And that's another thing, man. When did nerds get the power to start blackballing people from conventions? Bro, just go up there, push them over. What are they going to do? Throw their asthma pumps at you? Like, just get them out of the way. Did I tell you I almost got in a fight with some Pokemon nerds at work the other day?
No.
Yeah, they barged into the store. One of them had a face tattoo trying to act tough. And I'm like, bro, I would have believed everything you said up until like, I'm here for the Charizard card.
It is weird when you see hoodies who are really into Pokemon.
And
it's always Pokemon. It's not another franchise. It's not like they're here for Magic. They're always coming in for Pokemon.
Well, he was a reseller, the scumbag. They're just running around like dope fiends, looking for the $20,000 card. I'm like, it's not going to be you. Listen to me. People with face tattoos don't get the $20,000 card. You get more time at the WIC office. All right? Let's keep moving. Sorry about that.
Sure. At the Daily Wire, Jacob Fallick wrote, Kathleen Kennedy took America's most iconic film franchise, Star Wars, something countless young boys grew up watching because of the action, villains, heroes, and aliens, and turned it into a monstrosity of far-left politics, from introducing the most egregious examples of a feminist Mary Sue character. It has become unwatchable as it currently stands. Good riddance to Kathleen. The culture is changing in the right direction. There's no room for your BS. So
moral of the story, don't mess with Star Wars at all.
Don't mess with Star Wars at all. So some of these criticisms from the right are going much further than I would go. However, I do broadly share the criticism of Kathleen Kennedy. I think under her auspices, Star Wars became pretty bad and produced a lot of bad movies. Now you are a Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings person.
I'm also a Star Wars.
You're a Star Wars person.
Absolutely. There's this incredible nostalgia to it. I actually take issue with the comment about little boys tuning into Star Wars.
Of course.
I watched it.
No, it's an adventure series for families, for people of all ages. The new movies were just not that good. They were very
Pause
it. Force Awakens. I would.
This is exactly what I thought it would be. It's not emotionally charged, right? Not that I would ever tune in and watch these two ever again about anything else.
Right.
It's not emotionally charged. They're not so invested to the point where they're frothing at the mouth. But it is newsworthy enough that it made it onto the Hill. If you're not familiar with this channel, this is the channel that let go of two very popular journalists that went on to make Breaking Points, which is wildly more popular now. But this is a respectful, political commentary channel on YouTube, and they have a paper too, I believe.
I think I want to start checking them out more often. But you are right; this isn't like the type of content I'd be like into. But it is interesting to watch these political nerds talk about Star Wars, and that shows you the power of Star Wars as a franchise
and where it's gone in regards to this political conversation, man. Now, if you want, we can listen to what Critical Drinker has to say. If you want to go real, you want to go high ball, low ball. What do you want to
go? Is there someone other than Critical Drinker? Here's what it is. He's just so negative that it sometimes makes me want to, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on YouTube, want to kill myself. So, I just want somebody with a little more, can rein it back a little bit, just a little. Over in the chat, Vex says, well, Pokemon is gangster, so yeah.
It is not gangster. Pokemon is not.
No, but do you have someone other than Critical?
No, I have no one else, man. I didn't send the link, but I just thought it was hilarious. So, you already threw it out there who you want to see it is. Who's your final pick to take the reins here? Because you don't want what's this guy's name? You don't want
I don't want Filoni. I don't want Filoni.
I think Filoni's the best pick though. He cares enough about the property. Man.
You know what it is? He's going to, and this is what I think about what he did with the Acolyte. So he canceled the Acolyte, right? And I think a lot of people would be like, it deserved to be canceled, blah, 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 blah. It was being watched. It wasn't in disastrous numbers of watching. Plenty of people were at least hate watching or watching. They had such an interesting villain and they had the fight scene. They could have easily salvaged the second season. They could have easily been like, let's have more action. Let's have more things. They could have fixed all these things, but they canceled it because he wants to make more of his cartoon characters, his cartoon verse, Ahsoka, the Rebels characters, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to see any of those people.
But you would agree that Ahsoka was superior to the Acolyte, right?
So as a show, no. Here's what I'm saying. The best episodes of Ahsoka were way better than the best episodes of Acolyte. Okay. But one of the problems that I have with the Ahsoka is it's basically the 5th season of Rebels. It starts off where you have to know Rebels completely to really enjoy it and understand it. And then it ended.
What do you care? You knew Rebels, though. What do you care?
No, I did, but I'm just saying, like, I thought I was going to see an Ahsoka show. Right? You see how there's a difference between an Ahsoka show and a Rebel show?
No, sir. You don't care about the laity. You don't care about the layman that doesn't know about Star Wars. Outside of that, did you enjoy the journey? I enjoyed the journey of Ahsoka. I went back and rewatched some of it, and I thought it was superior even on its worst episodes in the Acolyte.
Like, I hate Ezra. Here's what it is. I hate Ezra. When he came into the story, it just got all zany. I don't understand the point of making the Asian girl. She's really a Mandalorian, but I don't know why they would make her a Jedi if she has the lowest Mandalorian count or whatever, a midichlorian count, and she sucks at it.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of stuff I really didn't like about it. Or another thing, it does, and at least Acolyte doesn't do this. It makes lightsabers not deadly anymore, where she gets driven through the middle of her body with a lightsaber and she heals within a few days.
Right. Yeah,
it's stuff like that I'm like, okay, this is not real.
There were 2 Jedis that couldn't take that, but those were those old school lightsabers. Those were the High Republic lightsabers, not these new. You know what I'm saying? Back when lightsabers were like dangerous. I can make a good argument about.
I just think if you're stabbed with a lightsaber, it should melt your insides, and like there's no hospital for
if
that.
They're lightsabers from the High Republic. That's when they were putting in that work. I'm trying to tell you something.
Nowadays, lightsabers are crap. They really get hot.
After
you can't even melt a blast door with it,
bro. After Return of the Jedi, lightsabers fell off. Craftsmanship, the whole thing, bro. Even the fighting style. You have to. The one thing I love, one of the main things I loved about the Acolyte was how menacing the villain was. I don't care what any of these dudes say, and this is where I diverge from Star Wars theory.
Finish that story.
Fight scene was so gritty and it was so amazing. I'm sorry,
one
man.
Of the best.
Listen. Look, I'm gonna look into the camera right now, man. Yo, I'll be the one to tell y'all the truth, but I'm okay with you living in denial. That fight scene with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in that show is horrible. I've watched it multiple times. That last jump that he does to cut Vader's mask off is some of the worst wire work I've ever seen in my entire life.
I totally agree. People, I don't know why people were on its nutsack. They were like, "What about that epic ending?" I was like, "It was foolish." For starters, Obi-Wan has never used the Force like that.
No, ever.
When he lifts thousands of rocks, And he lets him have him like, yo, you do. He does not rep like that.
It's almost as if he's the chosen one.
Right. Really, anyone's the chosen one nowadays. But like, basically, look. Shaolin says Ahsoka was definitely rebels in disguise. Laugh out loud. I bet Kanan will make an appearance next season, and he's dead. And actually, you know what's funny about that? So Shaolin, I don't know if you have heard, but not only is more Anakin flashbacks going to be there, but they're going to include Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman is signed on for second season of Ahsoka, and there's rumors that there's going to be a scene of Anakin, her, and Obi-Wan in it.
And you're going to watch it.
I'm going to love that. I'm going to love seeing that group together.
I'm having a hard time following you. You loved Anakin coming back in Ahsoka. You loved our guy, the evil dark gray Jedi. Right. You loved everything about the show except for a few rebel mentions. You loved when you saw baby Ahsoka going through her. You loved all of that.
Yes, I do. Here's what I'm saying. It's a good. I'm not saying it's a bad show. It's a good show. I'll keep watching it. However, I think they should have saved Acolyte and they should have continued that story. I think I know the story. I actually think I know what was going to happen. But so I think here's what it is. I believe that Darth Plagueis was going to want to take the girl as his apprentice, right. Supergirl or whatever, and he was going to cast or try to kill Pretty Boy. What was it? Do we have a name for that character?
Smilo Ren.
Smilo Ren. Yes, they're going to try. He's going to survive. He's going to create the Knights of Ren, and it's going to explain what the Knights of Ren are compared to Sith.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then we would have found out why Yoda would have somehow lied for so many years about the Sith.
I really want to answer to that whole conspiracy. And then I will say this: the show would also be better if the main Jedi character, the guy from Squid Game, if he faked his death. But that might just be me being a fan.
You know what? That was a horrible scene, but it was still kind of beautiful watching her choke him to death. Because I was like, this really is like the end of hope. Right? Like when I was watching it, I was like, this is
because they made it so there's no redemption. The guy cannot redeem himself. Yeah. He's trying, but they wouldn't let him do it because they killed him too soon.
Well, I mean, it was a weird circumstance, right? I didn't know what she was doing. She was turning into smoke, and the little girl started turning into smoke too.
I completely have his back. I have his back. Like, yeah, he thought she was doing some sort of dark magic onto the little girl, and so
you see how this turns into racism real quick, and why you're a police state defender. Like, I didn't know what he was doing. He was a black guy. He had a phone in his hand. Black magic.
Steve, my man, you know about the fog of war. I know you know about the fog of war. When shit is going down, sometimes you just swing and you accidentally hit your friend. It's what happens, right? These are things that happen. Sometimes you're freaking out. No, I've never had a firefight and had to deal with the fog of war, but I can only imagine what these, a Jedi sometimes he'll kill your mom. It's a stressful situation.
He just got through fighting a goddamn bear that can talk.
Yo, also the Wookiee Jedi. We needed more Wookiee Jedi, man.
Yeah. I was actually impressed by the young man when he started doing the whirling dervish, blocking those lesbian arrows coming towards him.
And I want a flashback explanation as to why he wanted to leave to go to Coruscant so badly. I think there was pussy waiting for him. Do you remember that he kept on? He literally botched his own mission because he couldn't wait to get off the planet and go back home. And I was like, "What is waiting for you there, bro?" It's probably a bitch.
Oh my goodness, bro.
Sabine Jedi retcon is so contrived. Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
He said Padme locks me in. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome, man.
You know what's crazy though, man? I mean, yeah. So, in closing, in regards to the Kathleen Kennedy thing, man, we'll see. Because I haven't heard her say she's stepping down yet. Have you heard her say she's stepping down? Or she said she's leaving. Any direct quotes from her? Oh, wait. I'm just rendering one record. I'm going to ask the doozy question because I want to go over to their channel to see what they think. Come on, export.
I'm excited for this question.
Well, you're not going to be excited once I ask it, because you're going to be like, why do you have to do this to me every time? All right. It's going to be one of those things.
You asking me about police brutality in this episode, when this was supposed to be about entertainment and lighthearted shit, was me thinking, why do you have to do this to me every time?
It's like Most Def when that chick was like, is Drake hip hop? He's like, why? That's my favorite part. Why are you doing this to me? All right. In regards to the Kathleen Kennedy thing, I would like to know, if you already know. If not, can we go there? What Grace Randolph had to say about this.
So I don't remember. So it probably wasn't that insane, or was it? But let's find out.
Did she say anything on the Twitters?
Oh, you just want to check out Twitter? You don't want to see a video?
Oh no, let's go to a video. I'll check out Twitter, because I can't remember if she's a Kathleen apologist or not.
She tends to be like she tends to protect the chicks. That's who she is.
Right.
As a human, so I wouldn't be surprised. But what is her channel? Beyond the trailer.
Don't act like you don't know what her channel.
I just
just because you got clean. Oh, someone has a channel on Twitter called Grace Randolph. Out of context. All right, putting it together. It doesn't look like she said anything so far.
Watch a live stream about it.
That's right. There's a new Shrek movie coming out. Haha, there's no green at all in this pic. Oh yeah, did you see the picture of Green Lantern? You see that?
Oh yes, I did. It's not even worth talking about, right?
No, not at all.
it's just a two picture. You're talking about the picture of them just like walking, right? They're just dudes. They're just regular dudes.
Nothing. She didn't say anything on her channel.
No, she has a live stream.
Oh, you know what? While we're waiting to get that up, man, rest in peace, Gene Hackman, right, man? R.I.P.
So all the people who have been dying, that was going to be one of my one of my honorable mentions,
right?
But have you heard about furthermore what's going on with that?
At first, I thought they said they ruled it or didn't suspect foul play, and now I'm guessing
they've reversed that, because they're dead, and one of their dogs is dead too.
Yeah,
and there's an open pill bottle with no pills in it, and stuff. And then also they've been dead for a few days. They were decaying.
Oh no,
and that's just horrible.
Who killed the dog, bro?
That's what I was saying, this is just pure theory, total speculation from a man who knows nothing other than a hearsay and rumor. I wonder if they were gonna go together into the light, and that the dog later on ate some of the pills that were lying on the floor,
or some of them.
Oh, you think that poisoned them?
No. I mean, dogs, tiny dogs, don't have the best stomachs, or maybe they just took the dog with them. If that's the journey they were on.
That's a horrific end for a great man.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Now I'm just upset. Things.
Well, let's continue talking about DEI practices and how that relates to police brutality.
And let's talk about a racist. Let's see what this racist has to say.
Is retiring, and there was much rejoicing through the land. I feel kind of bad, some people were very aggressive. People I know were very aggressive, and I understand where they're coming from. But, I don't know. I think don't dance on someone's grave. I mean, you can be honest about it, but let's talk about it. Okay. So
let's talk about it.
So you can see I have a question mark here. Kathleen Kennedy to retire? We're not sure. Okay. But the source is very good. So where did this come from? So there's a newspaper, and they cover all kinds of stuff. They have, they're like a small little newspaper. They cover entertainment, finance, politics, all kinds of stuff. But they have for their entertainment division, and they're behind a paywall, by the way, which has really hurt their reach. I don't.
And just real quick, Shellen says Aaron Pierre is the man, though. I cannot wait to see him as Jon Stewart. Has the potential to be S-tier casting, which, wow, that is a statement. Up there with Iron Man or Deadpool. Well, I'll tell you, I think the guy they got for Hal Jordan is wonderful as well. He's the, he's the dad from Friday Night Lights. I think, and it's described as like a buddy cop, buddy space cops solving crimes, right? Love it. I think the show in general looks like it could do real great. And I assume Aaron Pierre is going to be the one who joins the Justice League.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be watching it every week unless one of you guys say, Steve, it's that amazing. I still haven't watched Penguin, but we'll see. We'll see. This is from the Gunverse. We forgot to talk about Shouty from Buffy, man. Buffy's little sister, man. Gossip Girl.
Yeah, everyone's just dying, man. Rest in peace, Michelle Trachtenberg. Yeah.
That's how you pronounce it. Trachtenberg. Okay, thank you, brother.
All these, there's been a lot of crazy deaths. And actually one of the producers of Transformers and Star Trek, Robert Orsi died as well, all on the same day with these guys. So
it's outrageous.
It is outrageous.
Understand why they insist on being behind a paywall. I think some aspects of a paywall are understandable, but I think it's
get to the good parts.
CNN's gone behind a paywall with some stories.
Get to your radical opinion that's going to alienate you and make you lose.
So anyway, who runs Puck's entertainment division? Well, it's a guy named Matthew Baloney, who has a cameo. Let's just say, okay, so I can't give anything away. All right, so Matt Baloney is he used to be the editor-in-chief of the Hollywood Reporter. Which is my favorite of the trades.
I wish I could get back to the hot take. I wish you earmarked the hot takes.
They're all owned by the same company now. Deadline, Variety, and the Hollywood Reporter are all owned by the same company. And he was unfortunately let go. And this is where he landed. He landed at Puck News. And I don't believe this is. I think this. Yeah, I don't know if this is his story or not. But he heads up them over there. And so anytime you hear anything from Puck News, they're pretty good. I would trust anything that you hear from Puck News, which is why all the trades then quickly picked up this story. The idea is that Kathleen Kennedy will step down, retire. I'm surprised she's going to retire. That's right, Sean. He also, I believe he also has a podcast as well.
I mean, they're so rich, these people.
Yeah.
Why don't they retire?
So anyway, the idea is that she'll retire at the very end of the
year. After you've made a shame of yourself, right? You're a Hollywood shame.
Now, it's not official yet. It hasn't been announced by anybody, but this is now the rumor. So people are being pretty mean to Kathy. However, I'd like to point out, everybody's awfully quick to forget that Star Wars fans are mean to everybody. They were so mean to George Lucas.
Yeah, they
bullied him into selling off his own creation.
During the prequel stuff? Oh, man,
which I think is hilarious.
And the guy who actually played Jar Jar almost
getting $4 billion. Oh, so sad.
Oh, there's a story.
By the way, he did a bad job too. Let's be honest. And so he left. He was like, it's not fun anymore, and he left. And so
clearly,
there's a Jar Jar.
No. The actor who played Jar Jar came back during The Mandalorian. He's the one that rescued Baby Grogu. Right. I would love to know what that story was. Where did he and Baby Grogu go, and how did he lose the baby? What was his ultimate demise?
So here's the problem with streaming. I don't know why they do this. The low episode counts on streaming shows is ridiculous. If this was just cable, we'd be getting 15 or 16 episodes a season. If this was regular TV, we'd be getting 25.
Right.
8 episodes does not make a season. And so here's where this connects. The Mandalorian should be 22 episodes a season, and there should be more episodes explaining this type of stuff. The material is there, and our desire to watch this is there. Right? And so there's so many things in The Mandalorian that they could have done. Showing us that one clip, not enough. Right. They should have given him an entire episode later on down the road to explain what he did with Baby Yoda and what further on went on.
All they need to make The Mandalorian great again is to get the choreographer from The Acolyte and bring him over to Mandalorian, and then just make everything brutal from this point on, right? Mm-hmm. Everything needs to be brutal. I want people dying in Star Wars, limbs falling. I want
make lightsabers deadly again.
Yeah.
And then another thing is, Another thing is, I would actually also roll Ahsoka into Mandalorian. I would have made it all one show.
Yeah, that's going to happen regardless. All right, Grace, her hair doesn't look as crazy today. The blowout isn't as blown out, but I don't think she's going to go controversial. It looks like she's towing the line.
Yeah, you see how she's in control of herself today? It's kind of weird. She's probably took her medication. But she's low energy right now. She's low energy. You can tell by depending on how squealish her or like when she says whether this episode's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
And I don't think it is. You're right. Forget this chick.
Poor Grace.
You said poor Grace. Man. You do realize that she would slit your throat for a nickel, right?
She would never get that close to me. She's not quick enough. She looks like she's got short, stubby legs.
But anyway, we here on the Fanboy Modeling School, we attack opinions and ideas, not bodies.
That's a lie. You attack people's bodies all the time. You make fun of Ugbos, you call them.
I just don't want to see them in my television shows and my movies. Okay.
At my Starbucks, at my Chinese food restaurant, in polite society.
Basically, yeah, they should have special schools, maybe colonies.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, did you
Vex says lies, her hair is still a mess.
That is like Bex, have we ever shown you the brunette version? Remember I sent you in Shaolin the other woman who's like the brunette.
I still follow her on Instagram. I still watch her videos. Like I don't watch her YouTube, but that other woman you said.
Yeah. She's got some like risque short films and stuff like that. I had to like unfollow her.
Okay, I didn't know that. Maybe we need to pay closer attention. That's a damn lie, Mantis. What do you mean? What's a damn lie?
That you don't talk about people.
Oh, right. Okay, no, yes, okay. So, as Steve has pointed out, maybe occasionally I discuss people's looks, their body type, whether that gives them value as a human or not. But what can I say? I am shallow and I am a sinner before God.
Yes, you are. As am I. Folks, I'm gonna throw it out there. Lutheran or Methodist? That's we're trying to figure out.
No, we're not discussing this on the show, but we will on our other podcast, The Layman, coming out soon. You got any more topics for tonight?
Oh no, that's it, man. I think we powered through and pooed on everyone that needed to be pooed on.
I think we did a lot of deuce taking.
Irv Gotti passed away, so it's Irv Gotti, Buffy's little sister, friggin' Gene Hackman, the producer fellow you was talking about. 2025.
Yeah, my mom, when we were talking about this, my mom was like, "Check on the Pope." She wanted me to check on the Pope because,
he's not doing good at all.
He's not doing good either. Yeah, he could
been
be
in office for 13 years. Can you believe that?
Yes, I have theories. I have strong opinions and theories, but
that's right. You don't think there is an actual Pope because of the smoke and the other guy. Yeah. You're one of those guys.
Yeah,
I'm not against it.
It's called a distraction.
Folks, did you watch the Joe Rogan Mel Gibson interview?
Just clips.
Oh, magnificent. Just the clips alone are amazing, man. Mel Gibson is a terrifying human being. I love it.
If now he has that beard and he's just some crazy conspiracy guy, he's just saying things. He's like, I've had 4 friends who had cancer who got better by taking ivermectin, and we're like, what? That doesn't even make any sense. How does it make any sense? But he's just saying crazy old man stuff, right?
We have to do a layman's episode this week so we can get it aired, because do you know Joe Rogan's been going to church?
I did not know that. Back says also Roberta Flack died.
Roberta Flack passed away. Yes.
Did she? No. Oh man. Yo, guys, this just goes to show you, tomorrow is not promised. Hug and love your loved ones, man. Stay close to them. Remember, family above all.
Yeah, and anything can happen tomorrow. It's February 28th, last day of Black History Month. So make sure Morgan Freeman's okay. That's all.
Remember to be extra black. Oh, no, wait, don't do that. That could lead to your death.
Just check on Morgan Freeman and Denzel Washington.
Oh, Denzel.
Yeah.
Vex says forgetting the black women shake my head. Okay, whatever. This has been the Fanboy Modeling School, brought to you by Riz Radio. I am the Fat Mantis, now in HD. I'm here with my partner in crime,
Steve, real name, no gimmicks, also in HD.
Tell them where ye can find you, my friend.
Mic check. Sundays and Tuesdays, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Tuesdays, particularly my favorite day now because it's new to me Tuesdays, where you just get to hear songs that came out months ago that I had no idea existed, and we get to talk about it together.
You get to hear him complain about him like an old man. And speaking of old man, you get to watch me ponder the universe on Burn Your Degree, where I just go flip through the paper and I just bark and spit. It's a real good time. Saturdays and Sundays at 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern, only on Riz Radio. This is the Fanboy Modeling School signing off. Until next time, ciao for now.